Hello, good afternoon. We're going to do some history today for our topic work this afternoon. So as you know, our topic this term is bounce, and we wanted to take this opportunity to look at the Olympics because, of course, lots of different sports, lots of different races, all use different types of jumping or bouncing, so we thought it was a good time to explore that. So today we are going to be looking at and comparing the modern Olympics as we know them at the moment in present life, and the ancient Greek Olympics that were hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So let's have a look. For your starter, I would like you please to write down as many things as you can that you know about the Olympics. So if you're in school, you can do this on your whiteboard. If you're at home, you can just do this in your book. You could do it as a spider diagram or as a list, it's up to you. So you can pause the video now and write down everything you can remember about the Olympics. Okay, so why do you think it is more difficult to know about what happened during the ancient Olympic Games than it would be to find out about the modern Olympic Games? Have a chat with someone at home, or you can talk to your partner and pause the video. Okay, so of course, the ancient Olympic Games happened a long time ago, and we weren't around then to tell each other about it or to find out about it. So it's definitely easier to find out about the modern Olympics because some of us have lived through it. Most of us have seen some sort of Olympic Games. And your parents probably remember it better than you do. And I know I remember them. And some of us might even have been to see some Olympic Games in real life, which would be really cool. So what sources then do you think might we use to find out information about the ancient Olympics? Pause the video and have a think. What sort of sources might we use? Okay, so lots of our knowledge about the ancient Olympic Games comes from looking at vases. So I'm sure you know what vases are, but these ones on the screen look slightly different to the ones that I expect you have in your house. And this artwork actually tells a story, and it gives us information about events that happened when the vases were made, which could be a long time ago. So that is a way that we get lots of information about things that happened in the past. Okay, so here is an information sheet about the ancient Olympic Games. If you're in school, you can read through it with your partner and underline what you think the important information is. If you're at home, I have attached it as a PDF underneath this video for you to have a look at, or obviously it's on the screen, and I am going to read it through it with you just in case you can't access the PDF. If you're in school, you might want to pause so that you can read through it as a class, and then just fast forward through me reading it. If you don't want to, then feel free. And of course, if you don't want to listen to me reading it at home, you can do the same thing. Just fast forward through me talking for the next minute and a half or however long it's going to be. Okay, so ancient Olympic Games. The Games began in 776 BC in Olympia in ancient Greece. It is believed that the Games were a religious event to honour Zeus, who was the king of the gods. The ancient Olympic Games took place every 4 years. Only men were allowed to participate in the Games, and women were not allowed to watch the Games either. The Games were very challenging. There were no team games, water sports, or winter sports included in the ancient Olympic Games. Horses were used in the ancient Olympic Games for chariot racing. When doing the sports, the men did not wear any clothes. Only one man won the Olympic Games. The winning man was given a crown of olive leaves, and a statue was made of him and put up in ancient Greece. There were many events in the ancient Olympic Games, such as, and the orange section at the bottom, it's got the discus, the long jump, the javelin, equestrian events, which means events with horses, like horse riding, running events, boxing, wrestling, and pankration. I'm not sure what that one is. It says the pankration was a combination of wrestling and boxing. The only rules were that the athlete could not bite his opponent or gouge at his eyes or nose. Oh, I'd hope not. Okay, I'm done. So I'd like you, of course, to have a look through, and if you're at home and you're able to print it off, you can underline. If you are not able to print it off, you can either create a list of the facts that you've remembered, or just have a think about what you think was important about that. We will be writing more later on, so I'd maybe suggest that you just think about it for now. And then we are going to move on to the Olympic Games. So if you need to pause the video now, you can, or we are going to move on to the modern Olympic Games, on the next slide. Okay, so again, here is the modern Olympic Games page, information sheet. If you're in school, you might want to just pause the video and read through this as a class or in your partners. If you're at home, you're welcome to listen to me reading it, but you don't have to. If you want to read through it yourself, then you can just fast forward whilst I read through it to those of you that can't access it. Okay, so the Olympics is a huge, important and challenging sporting event. This is the modern Olympic Games, The Olympic Games are held every 4 years. People from all over the world can participate in the Olympic Games. Also, the Olympic Games take place in a different place every 4 years, and the last Summer Olympics were held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in 2016. In 2020, they were going to be held in Tokyo, Japan, but of course, that wasn't allowed to happen. In the modern Olympics, both men and women are allowed to participate in the Games, and both men and women can watch the Olympics in the stadium. It is also televised, so that means that it's filmed and put onto TV. Now, there are summer and winter Olympic Games, and there are also now team games. A wider variety of events, such as table tennis, basketball and gymnastics, and water sports, unlike the ancient Olympic Games. Gold, silver and bronze medals are given out in each event. The modern Olympics have opening and closing ceremonies. Okay, so again, I'd like you to have a little think if you're at home. If you're in school, you can underline. If you're able to print out that resource, then you can underline as well. But if you can't, then please just have a little think. What was the important information, do you think, in that set of facts about the modern Olympic Games? So you can pause the video and have a little think, or underline now. Okie doke. So now that we have looked at the ancient and the modern Olympics, we are going to talk about the similarities that we can spot. So if you're in school, or if you are at home with somebody and you can discuss this, please feel free. I'm going to run through some of the similarities that we spotted, which you will need later on, so make sure you're listening. And then once we've done the similarities, we will look at the differences. Okay, so one similarity: it is still a huge and important sporting competition. Another similarity: a man won the Olympic Games and someone wins a gold medal in the modern Olympics. So that's similar in the sense that in the ancient Olympic Games, awards were given, and of course awards are still given in the modern Olympic Games. The Games were held every 4 years, and they still are. And lots of men watch the ancient Olympic Games, and lots of people still watch the Olympic Games today. So it's still being viewed by other people, even people that aren't taking part. Some more similarities. Horses were used in the ancient Olympics and are still part of Olympic events today. It's definitely still a very challenging competition. Not many people get to be Olympic athletes. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. Events such as discus, long jump, javelin, running, boxing and wrestling still happen in the modern day Olympics. So they are some more similarities for us. Well done if you got all of those similarities. We've now got some differences. So we now have summer and a winter Olympics. During the ancient Olympics, only the summer Olympics took place in the warm weather. The first Olympics was held in just one place, but now the Olympics are held all around the world. So there's every 4 years it's in a different location, different country. There are gold, silver and bronze medals given out now. In the ancient Olympic Games in ancient Greece, only one winner was recognised. So if you didn't win, then you didn't get anything, whereas now we have gold, silver and bronze. In ancient Greece, a crown of olive leaves was placed on the winner's head, and a statue in his honour was put up. Whereas now we get bronze, silver and gold medals. So the awards themselves are different as well, aren't they? And some more differences then. During the ancient Olympic Games, only men were allowed to participate, but now men and women are allowed, which is great. There were no team sports in the ancient Olympic Games, but I'm sure you know that now there are lots of team sports, aren't there? There's a nice picture of the rowing going on there as well. In ancient Greece, participants didn't wear any clothes, and now, of course, they do, which is different, of course. No water sports took place in the ancient Olympic Games, and horses were used in chariot racing during the ancient Olympics. But today they are part of show jumping, so they are still involved, but in a slightly different way, quite a different way actually. So there are some more differences. Well done if you got them, or if you got any more. There are some more coming on this slide. So there are more events in the modern Olympic Games than there were in the ancient Olympic Games. So events such as table tennis, gymnastics, football, cycling, and basketball all take place now, but they didn't in the ancient Olympic Games. There are now opening and closing ceremonies for the modern Olympics, and as far as we're aware, they didn't happen in the ancient Olympic Games. Only Greek people were allowed to participate in the ancient Olympic Games, but now people from all different countries around the world can take part, which is great, isn't it? It's a great sense of community. And the modern Olympics is now shown on TV, and both men and women can watch, whereas only men could watch the ancient Olympics, and they had to go. They couldn't watch it on television, of course. I'm not sure that television was around back then. Okay, so there are some differences. Right, so your task today then is to write down some of the similarities and differences between the modern and the ancient Olympics. Make sure you include headings for the similarities and differences. So like you can see on this page here, I've got my subheading of similarities, I've underlined it, and then you can write as many similarities as you can remember underneath that subheading. And then once you've done all of your similarities that you can remember, you can move on to differences, underline your subheading, and carry on just as you did with similarities. Of course, if you can't remember any, or you want to double check a fact, you can rewind through this video. If you're in school, or if you've got the information sheet printed out, then you of course refer to that as well. It's a great source of information. And yeah, get as much done as you can. It'll be great. So the plenary, your final thought. Once you've done your task, you can move on to the plenary. And for your plenary, what do you think is the biggest difference between the ancient Olympic Games and the modern Olympic Games? What do you think has been the best change in the Olympic Games? So you can just write a little sentence, a short sentence at the bottom of your work, or on the next page if you've run out of space in your catch-up book, just telling the reader what you think the biggest difference between the two games is, and also what you think the best change has been. So, for example, I would say the biggest difference is probably that it's all about everyone, all the different countries now. That it can go all over the world, and lots of different countries can be involved, as well as it sort of being in their country in lots of different countries. And I think the best change is probably that men and women can do it, because I think that's great. So that's my opinion, and that's what I would write at the bottom of mine. But yours doesn't have to be that. Yours can be your own, of course. Okay, well done today. I hope you've had a lovely day. Remember, you can send your work in on Discord or in an email if you'd like to. We'd love to see what you're getting up to. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye.